good of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow kindness in others. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is error, truth. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is the giving that we receive, it is the parting that we are pardoned. Amen on that first prayer. We come before you today to give you honor and praise. You are worthy of praise. You are the source of all that is good. You are the source of all of our blessings, and thank you for every gift that we have been given. We thank you for the opportunity to come together this day. We ask for your hand of blessing on this meeting. We ask that you would guide and direct our meeting so that it's full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. Thank you for helping us to accomplish our work and our goals for this day. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, next up, do we have a volunteer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I usually try to find a child, but seeing that I'm probably the youngest.
Would you like a veteran?
Veteran will work.
Dan. I got you. Corner hanging. Right there. All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, well, I want to welcome everybody here to the Veterans in Politics Forum on Saturday, April 23rd. To start off, we must and want to acknowledge our wonderful sponsors for this event, because like anything like this, there are costs involved, and we're deeply grateful to Scott Gormley, owner of Rhythm Kitchen Restaurant, Jim Wheeler, Nevada State Assemblyman, Tony Abatangelo, and I apologize if I stumble over some of these names, I'm better with numbers being a CPA, Tony Abatangelo, former Las Vegas Justice of the Peace, Ron Q, Ron Q Foundation, Steve Ross, Las Vegas City Councilman, George Carson, owner of AllTalkRadio.net, Kevin Wall, Battleborn Radio, Mike Angel, owner of Nevada Legal Forms and Tax Services, and many, many more. Like anything like this, it takes a great deal of effort, and of course, we should start off by quick introductions. The whole conversation today is going to need to be quick. We have a lot of people being considered for candidates and a lot of people doing the considering. So quickly, if I could have the panelists introduce themselves, that would be ideal, like the 15-second version, starting with Melanie.
Good morning, my name is Molly Thomas, I'm a local attorney.
Len Connell, radio host and business owner.
Jim Jonas, radio show host for Veterans in Politics.
Scott LaFava, Citizens for a Better America.
Rowena Clifton, founder of Shine Family Foundation and TV talk show host.
John Moore, Nevada State Assemblyman, right here in District 8.
Nathan Atkins, business owner and former Army.
Robert Fowles, former U.S. Army, local business.
Ron Q. Keelan, founder of Ron Q Corporation and president of Ron Q Foundation.
Tim Patara, U.S. Army veteran, political activist.
Good morning, Mike Edwards, United States Marine, disabled vet, Desert Storm, and president of Van Eagles Motorcycle Club, Las Vegas.
Do we have a word from Steve Sanson? No? Waiting off. Okay. Thank you, panelists. And let me just go over a couple of the rules, because you know there are rules. Sorry, candidates. I am the moderator. My job is basically to make sure that things go smoothly. It's not a Ralston type situation where I will do the questioning, the panelists will do the questioning, although I will at times reserve the right to redirect or ask you to clarify. Essentially where we're at, this is going to be a very quick format, as I mentioned. Obviously, an hour and a half for this first very important forum. This is a forum. This is an interview, not a debate. I really want to emphasize that from the start. I don't want to see people getting into it with each other. I've been on that side of the table. I understand the passion, and it's very well respected. But do yourself a favor. Your goal is to present your best positions, your best light, and impress the panel, and also obviously hopefully win an endorsement. So keep in mind that this is an interview, not a debate. 30-second questions, 1-minute answers. You can see the kind of format. It's sort of like the lightning round of Jim Cramer, I guess. Each panelist will be allowed 1 question per interview. The question will be directed at 1 candidate unless, and I know this is where we're going to get it, unless the question can be answered with a yes or a no. I know better, but let's just go with the theory here. Panelists will have 30 seconds to pose their questions. Interviewees will be given 1 minute to respond. If time permits, questions will be taken from the audience. Look out for that one. Also, I will make the request that if you have a cell phone, that you turn the ringer off. Obviously, that can be quite distracting. Very briefly, my background, I'm a former state assemblyman. I guess it says it on the sign there. Also, a former member of the Nevada Economic Forum as a commissioner, chairman of the Clark County Democratic Party, and the list goes on. But I'm a certified public accountant in my practice, certified fraud examiner, and this part our candidates will love. I'm also a trained professional interrogator. So I'll know when you're not telling the truth. No waterboarding. Okay. So why don't we start? And I'll do my best with the time check here because obviously I'm multitasking and I'm not a professional at this any more than anyone else is in the room. So I'm asking for everybody's cooperation. If I say time, stop. Trust me, brevity is going to be respected here. If you're gas bagging it or being long-winded, like me, you're going to be in trouble. I like this panel. So without further ado, let's start with the first question, and you direct it to a candidate, or if it's a yes or no to all of them. Melanie?
We might disappear. We don't get an opportunity to introduce ourselves?
You know, why not? Let's do that. Why don't we start down this end with Sharron Angle?
No?
Like they did 15, 30 seconds.
Steve, mic check? The mic's good, you just got it.
My name is...
Turn it on.
It's not on.
It's got a short in the wire. Go to the next microphone.
My name, it's not on either.
Turn it on. There's an on button.
Actually, an on button, yeah.
Okay, turn it off. Go to the next microphone.
Okay, my name is Sharron Angle. I'm running for the U.S. Senate. I want your vote. I was raised in Reno. We came when I was 3 years old. My parents had a small business, a motel in South Reno. I graduated from Worcester High School and also the University of Nevada, Reno. When I was a senior in college, I met my husband 46 years ago, realized that I wasn't going to be an artist and go to London, Paris, New York, all of those wonderful places of notoriety. I was going to go to Ely, Winnemucca, and Tonopah. We have 2 children, 10 grandchildren, 1 on the way. And my daughter is the oldest, my son the youngest. When my son failed kindergarten, and I had changed my major to education, graduating in education, I realized that as an educator, I could take him home and homeschool him because the law in Nevada said you can homeschool your children. That's when a judge said, I know it's the law that you can homeschool your children, but the law should say you need to be 50 miles away from the nearest school in order to homeschool your children. That's when I got involved in being more than just a voter. I knew it was important.
Okay, I gotta be rude. Sorry.
That's not a minute and a half yet.
You 15 seconds.
Oh, I thought you said a minute and a half.
We have an hour and a half for the whole thing, so.
No, I thought you said a minute and a half. Sorry. Can I just finish my last sentence? So I served as a school board member one term in my county, and I served 4 sessions in the legislature, Nevada State Legislature as an assemblywoman, and since then I have served the people of Nevada in many different capacities, and I would honor your endorsement and love to have your vote.
My name is Dr. Bill Tarbell. My doctorate is in the area of religion and humanities, including psychology, philosophy, sociology, and history.
Try the next one. Try the next microphone.
Hello? Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Bobby Mahendra. I'm a candidate running for U.S. Senate. I'm going to respect Andrew here, keep it short. I'm a CPA, and I'm running on an anti-corruption platform. I'm not raising money from special interest, corporate America, or any super PACs. Thank you so much.
My name is Denise Davis, and I'm also a U.S. Senate candidate. I am the wife of a U.S. Navy veteran, a small business owner, a mother, a grandmother, and I'm running on the platform of term limits, and of course, what's nearest and dearest to my heart, my veterans.
Good morning. Eddie Hamilton. I am the Donald Trump Republican Party candidate for the United States Senate here in Nevada. There are 9 of us running in the Republican side, enough of a baseball team. So, to remind the voters over there, here's a $10 bill. I'm the $10 bill candidate. It's my name there, Hamilton, because we got 9 people running. And I live in Henderson with my wife for 33 years, and I am the grassroots, conservative, anti-establishment candidate, and our opponent, Joe Heck, a general in the U.S. Army, is a total coward. The man is a coward because he doesn't show up to any debate. So remember Eddie Hamilton, Donald Trump candidate. Mr. Trump won Nevada by a landslide. He's entitled to a U.S. Senator candidate from Nevada. I will work on his Great America program. So again, he deserves a go-to guy in the United States Senate. Thank you.
Actually, can we go back to Jarrod, because I know he was squeezed in there. I apologize, but thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Jarrod Williams. I'm running for U.S. Senate. I'm an independent candidate. I'm not affiliated with any political parties or any special interest groups. I'm just running on behalf of the working men and the common people of the state of Nevada. Thank you.
Hello? Okay, my name is Dr. Tony Gumina. I'm a 38-year Nevadan. Came here when I was in kindergarten, educated all the way up through medical school. I own a business here for a family physician. It's called Family Tree Medical Center. I've been a veteran for 9.5 years between active duty and reserve as a Navy corpsman. Served almost the entire time with the Marines as their 8404 corpsman. I'm running as an independent, mostly because I don't believe that the parties are working for us any longer. For the most part, everything's kind of going well so far. And other than that, thank you.
Hi, my name is Juston Preble. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm married to my ballroom dance partner. We met at BYU, Idaho. I have 5 kids. I'll be 35 in June. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, and I hate seeing political infighting, and I think that we deserve people that don't have special interests in mind, but our freedom, our individual freedom, the Constitution, protecting that and recognizing that Founding Fathers prayed that this time in our country wouldn't have happened.
My name is Robert X. Leeds. I'm running for U.S. Senator from Nevada. I am probably the world's last knight errant. I enlisted in the U.S. Army when I was 17, served in the South Pacific. I have honorable discharges from the United States Army, the United States Coast Guard, and the United States Air Force. 6 years ago, I volunteered to serve in Iraq again. I was serving with the 1st Stryker Brigade, 25th Division, when my vehicle was blown up and I was severely wounded and had to return to America for medical treatments. I have honorable citations for heroism, courage, without hesitation, and another for service above and beyond the call of duty. I want to serve my country one more time. I'm physically unable to engage in physical combat, but I can engage in service to my country by becoming the Senator of Nevada, and I endorse Donald Trump. I believe he's the only man who can do the job of getting rid of the politicians and restoring America to greatness. I'm not a perennial candidate. I promise I won't serve 6 or 7 terms. And by the way, I was 82 years old when I was blown up in Iraq. And physically I have some problems, but mentally I'm fully competent to serve as United States Senator for Nevada. Thank you.
And also, candidates, please, and panelists, please remember to speak directly into the mic, because there are some troubles with the audio system.
Hello, my name is Tom Jones. I'm running as an independent American candidate for U.S. Senate. I am pro-God, pro-country, pro-family, pro-constitution. I'm against tax increases, illegal immigration, and big brother government. But the 3 messages that I'm trying to get out in my campaign is, 1, we have to bring God back into our country. I believe the Constitution restricts our government from interfering with religion, but it doesn't restrict religion from taking part in the government. 2, I am running to I want to get the message out that we should not re-elect people who have broken their campaign promises or who have broken their oath of office. I believe that we should not vote for them regardless of party. The third thing that I'm doing, which isn't a national issue, it's a local issue. I'm involved with Project 1792. Mike Little, Warren Markowitz, and myself wrote a letter to the governor saying that it's time for Nevada to take its land back, especially the part of Nevada that is referred to in the United States Congressional Act of 1866, which includes Clark County, parts of Nye County, and the eastern border of Nevada. There is a congressional act that says it's Nevada's land. There is a legislative act in 1982 which accepted the land, and there are a few Nevada Supreme Court rulings that say it's Nevada's land, and I think it's time that we take it back, and we are preparing through 1972 to fight for that land. I believe that our forefathers risked their lives to found our country, give us our freedom. Our veterans risked their lives to protect our country. We should be willing to risk our vote to save our country. So I'm asking for your endorsement and your vote. Thank you.
My name is Tom Heck. I'm running for U.S. Senate. I'm an Air Force Academy graduate. I served 22 years in the Air Force. My dad was a Marine. I'm running to take over from career politicians and take our country back to restore the American dream. We need to get government out of our personal lives. We need to restore our military capability to protect American citizens. We need to destroy ISIS and other terrorists bent on killing Americans. We need to reduce our tax code. We need to simplify our tax code and reduce our rates. We need to enforce or secure our borders. We need to enforce the immigration laws and restore the American dream. I'm the leader to do that. I'm asking for your endorsement. Thank you. God bless America.
Hello, I'm Tom Sawyer. Live here in Las Vegas. So you've got 3 children with my wife, and served U.S. Army 1972 to 1974, honorably discharged, and just also 42 years in railroading. So I know what it's like to work, and I know what it's like to be on the end what people are feeling right now. And the only thing I can promise is that I'll do whatever I can in order to return this country back to God, Constitution. I believe our founders originally wrote the Constitution based on Judeo-Christian values, and we need to return back to there. But also as individuals, we need to return back to there. We can't say that everybody else has to obey laws when we don't. So we've all got to look back and say, well, let's all return this country back to our Judeo-Christian values. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, candidates. And without further ado, let's go to the questions. You ready for some questions? Okay, again, each panelist will be allowed to ask one question per interview. The question should be directed to one candidate unless it can be answered yes or no. Start with Melanie.
Do you believe that the initiative for campus carry should be adopted or declined?
Adopted.
I didn't hear the question.
Campus carry.
Here, let me make it a yes or no question. Do you support campus carry?
Yes.
Yes. Campus carry. Yes.
Sorry.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I support campus carry and constitutional carry as well.
I do not know.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, which is required to defend America. The answer is yes.
I support Second Amendment, and I believe campus carry as well as carry everywhere except for federal bill should be.
Yes.
I'm legally carrying right now, so I vote yes.
That makes 2 of us.
I vote yes too. I am pro-Constitution.
Yes, we're entitled to protect ourselves by the Constitution.
And also yes.
Okay, thank you. Also, panelists, before you ask your questions, please just introduce yourself. Since this is being recorded, the camera may not necessarily pick up your placard. So just say, I'm so-and-so, and this is my question, and we'll go from there. Next up, Len.
Len Connell. This question is directed towards Sharron Angle, and I'm promising Steve this will be a hardball question, okay, but it won't be too bad. Okay. National poll was done 1977. 70% of the people believe that one of the political parties should be abolished because it was a form of political corruption. This is the year of the outsider. We're not looking to vote in our favorite candidate. People are showing up in record numbers to get rid of the political class. So if I were to say that the reason that people get elected in the United States is to score a key to the executive washroom to enrich themselves beyond a king's ransom with special interests and just pay lip service to the people who got them in, with all due respect for everyone out there, Sharron, how would you answer that question?
I'm not exactly sure where this question is. First, to your statement about abolishing political parties. Unfortunately, within our system, it doesn't work well beyond the two political parties. We've seen that most people that run independent don't have an opportunity to really meet with all the people that they need to in order to get elected. And so I think the best way is to fix from the inside what's wrong with the parties. And the main thing is they don't listen to the people. We saw that with the commerce tax. They were willing to overlook that 80% of us didn't want a commerce tax and passed it anyway. We need to come from the inside to fix the party. As far as aggrandizing yourself by going to the U.S. Senate, our founding fathers never envisioned that. That's not where I'm at. I will introduce the bill for a constitutional amendment for term limits.
I just want to add something quick. I agree with Sharron Angle. Number one, we have the First Amendment, freedom of expression, so you cannot ban political party. What we need to do is liberate the political parties from the donors and special interests. Thank you.
Eddie, will fast evolve into a circus if we allow people to jump in again. It's an interview, not a debate. Thank you, though. Thank you for your answer. This is a tough job. Give me a break here, okay? I gotta be the tough guy this time. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, Jim Jonas, radio show host, Veterans of Politics. This also is for Ms. Angle. Last time when you ran, you won the primary, and a lot of us thought you had a really good chance of winning. If you're lucky enough to win this primary, what are you going to do differently to engage the media? Because I believe last time you kind of let them railroad you a little bit. So what's your plan this time to engage the media so you get your proper message out?
If you've been watching since I announced, I've engaged the media, and I think we've held our own on that. People, I don't think, understand that when you're running against incumbency, you start out with a 15% disadvantage. Mostly because there are things that come with incumbency, like franking privileges, things that offer incumbents an advantage. And there is an advantage, I suppose, in this race as well of a perceived incumbency. We will be engaging, we have been engaging with the media, and I think it's been proven since 2010 that the media needs to respect us and we need to respect them. And when we do that, I think that the public and the citizens and the voters will all benefit from that respect.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, sir. I guess, Scott, I'm going to rapidly lose the ability to read your slides.
Hi, this is Scott Lafata with Americans for Better Government, really. Quick question, I need a yes and no answer. If you're in the United States Senate, we're going to ask every one of you if you answer yes and no. If you're in the United States Senate, how would you ask if there was a bill in front of you to abolish the Internal Revenue Service? We'll start with Sharron and move our way down.
Yes.
Provided we have an adequate replacement, absolutely.
Bobby?
I really don't think that it's going to be possible to replace the IRS because you have too many people that try to cheat the system.
All right, yes or no,
So,
please. Okay, thank you.
No, I would not.
Denise?
Yes.
Eddie?
Yes, well, we need a constitutional amendment.
Thank you. Tony?
Yes, a fair pass would be the best way to go.
Justin? Robert?
Yes, I would replace it.
Thank you. Tom?
Yes, I believe we have too many agencies as it is.
Thomas?
Yes, we need a flat tax.
And Thomas Sawyer.
And yes.
Thank you.
Rowanna Griffithton, founder of Shine Family Foundation. This is for Tony. A lot of voter frustration on both sides. Too many politicians make promises they can't keep. Why are you different?
Well, I think the first thing that I'm different in is I don't really need it as a job. I have no rental properties, I have a decent income as a physician, and I have a definite future as a physician. And so I don't need a retirement from the Senate. I don't need their payments for being on committees. And I believe that I have 2 little children, one age 5, one age 6, that I need a future for them, not just for myself, not just for friends and family. And I believe that I have a good heart, Christian background, and I believe that I can make the hard choices, and I'm willing to live up to what people need, and I don't worry about what other people think.
May I answer that? Is that okay?
Unfortunately, not the forum. I know you want to answer every question, Eddie, but moving on to Assemblyman Moore.
This is Assemblyman John Moore. This question is for Tony. Going back to the campus carry issue, you said that you would support that, however, as far as the constitutional carry as well, but not in federal buildings. Can you explain that answer when I think the Second Amendment clearly states that our right to bear arms shall not be infringed?
Well, I think it's kind of simple. I believe that we should actually be able to carry everywhere we go. The problem is, I think the people who work for the federal government would be more afraid of us being allowed, so that would be a much tougher fight. If we get it passed, I think a constitutional amendment would have to be the way to go, because I don't think that the federal government themselves would vote against it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nathan Atkins, former Army. My question is for Mr. Williams. You said you're a candidate for the people, so here's something I think that every person is troubled with, right? We have some of the highest gas prices in the country. What are you going to do to make this state a great state for the working people?
Thank you. As to the gas prices, we do have some of the highest gas prices, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we're importing almost all of our gas from California, which has even higher prices than we do. One of the key ways we can reduce that would be to look into more alternative energies, like with getting the Tesla plant in northern Nevada to make the batteries. If we switched over to more electric vehicles or more solar-powered vehicles, we would not have to worry about paying those exorbitant gas prices that we're currently paying.
Rob Lauer. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Clark County and the city of Las Vegas are sanctuary cities. In other words, if an illegal alien is arrested for a felony, they are released on a bond and they're not turned over to ICE. That's called a sanctuary city. Would you cut off funding from sanctuary cities, including Las Vegas, city of Las Vegas and Clark County, federal funding, if you're elected to the U.S. Senate? I'd like a yes or no from each of the candidates.
Yes.
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 No, I would not.
100% yes.
As a supporter of Donald J. Trump, the president, the answer is yes. And as an engineer and businessman, I know how to build a wall for only $3 billion instead of 10. I've looked at the blueprint from the Israeli defense system. We can build an Israeli-type wall to keep this area. Thank you, yes.
The answer to that is yes, and I think we need to actually remove the DAPA and DACA laws that have been implanted by the president. But I don't think Donald Trump is correct exactly in building a wall. I think you actually need to enforce the laws that are already present.
It's a yes or
make,
no, I'm sorry.
a wall.
I hate to do this, but we'll get more questions in if we have the participation going correctly. Thank you.
Justin Preble, yes.
Robert Leeds, absolutely. If prisoners can make our license plates, they can build our walls.
I do not believe that the government has the right to bring people into our state without the state's permission. So I say, yes, we should cut out the funding, but our state should also do something about it.
Elected officials sign an oath to enforce the nation's laws. So yes, I would support that.
Those two options, yes.
Okay, thank you. I hate to be the heavy, but campaign for your own candidacy. Also limit your, if it is a yes or no question for everybody, try your best. Again, the panel is expecting that. Thank you. Move on.
Good morning. My name is Robert Faust. I'd like to thank you all for being here today. Appreciate it. I'm going to start with Mr. Sawyer. This question is for the whole panel. Do you support women's rights to abortion, and would you defund Planned Parenthood?
Yes.
And would you defund, you support women's rights and you would defund?
Oh, wait.
It's
No.
a two question.
Okay. Okay, Planned Parenthood is I would defund, mainly because it's covered under...
You answered the question. Women's right to abortion, would you defund Planned Parenthood?
I support the nation's laws, and I would defund Planned Parenthood.
Yes to both questions.
The Constitution doesn't address it. I think it's a state's right. It should be given back to the states and let the people of the state decide whether they want to defund Planned Parenthood and limit abortion.
Justin Preble, yes, yes.
Well, I think Mr. Leeds is correct on the 10th Amendment for the state to decide, but I think that women have the right to choose, and that if they do choose an abortion, it should not be paid for by the government.
Eddie Hamilton here. Number one, Planned Parenthood is a community health organization. There are 10,000 of these organizations in America, and Planned Parenthood is the only one getting $500 million. So it should be defunded in the sense that the money should be spread among 10,000 community health organizations. The answer is yes. The answer is yes, and I'm pro-life.
For the first part of the question, I believe that there are certain things that need to be left up to the state and the federal government. It needs to keep the grubby little fingers out of the business of the states. Second, yes, I do agree on defunding Planned Parenthood.
Yes, I strongly support a woman's right to abortion, and I would not defund Planned Parenthood.
I agree with Jarrod. I'm a pro-choice candidate, and I would not defund Planned Parenthood.
I'm not in a position to reverse the Supreme Court's ruling. Though I may disagree with the whole business of abortion, that's still a woman's right in this country. Second, with regard to Planned Parenthood, I must say that I would defund that part having to do with any abortion assistance.
I'm pro-life, believe in the right to life, and I would defund Planned Parenthood.
Okay, well, I would certainly do some fact checking that Planned Parenthood doesn't currently get funding for abortions. So if you're clarifying about the other aspects of the program, that's fine, but I just want to make sure that you all understood the question. Okay, I'm sorry, next.
Hi, my name is Ron Q. This question is for Sharron Angle. I'm going to piggyback a little bit on Jim Jonas's questions, because I'm pretty sure every one of us are surprised when you file for the last minute. And since you had a successfully campaign in 2010, winning on the primary, once, let's say, you win the primary, this upcoming primary election, what would you have done differently instead of running right now? You run against Harry Reid. Now you're running against Harry Reid's successor. What would you have done differently?
Thank you for that question. I am running on 3 issues that I believe are statewide issues as well as federal issues. They are freedom, privacy, and security. Freedom for health care choices, privacy for students and the information that they give in school, that it can't go outside the local school district without parental consent. And security of our vote, requiring voter ID. These are issues that go across party lines. They also it's no different between a primary and a general. They are also issues that are of concern not only to 80% of Nevadans, but also to 80% of the nation. When you stand for the right issues, you will get the votes of the people. That is I'm not sure that's a difference, but it is certainly a clarifying aspect of this campaign as opposed to the 2010 campaign. I also have a different relationship with the press this time. I believe that we will have that respectful relationship clear until the general election. I also believe that this is the time, having watched the caucuses in Nevada go 60% for Cruz and Trump, they believe that we don't need a DC special interest person in the U.S. Senate. We need someone who has always fought for them. And I think my record stands for itself when I got pressed for being 41 Dangle, meaning that I was willing, courageous, and able to execute the right vote even in the face of the majority. I believe that record will speak for itself with the voters. Thank you.
I'd like to start off by saying to the veterans, thank you for your service and welcome home. Mr. Leeds, you inspire me, sir. I want to be even half the greatest veteran as you are, sir, so I appreciate your service. My question is for Denise Davis. Ms. Davis, given the current political atmosphere of wanting an outsider, how do you feel you can best be the citizen candidate and represent us little people?
Okay. You know, that's a really good question, and over the last 2 months, many radio interviews have asked me the same thing, and I'm going to be totally honest. I never ever thought for a million years I'd be sitting here, ever running for a political office. From what I do rallies and I do events that help our veterans, whether it's raising money for the Fisher House or helping with the Veterans Care Foundation for the new Veterans Transition Resource Center. And throughout these years, veterans, literally hundreds, have come to me and asked me to do this. Over the last 2 years, when they heard the word that Harry Reid was retiring, or the possibility, or just the fact that they just wanted him gone, they actually asked me to do it. It took me 2 years to actually come to this, why I'm sitting here now. I actually prayed about it, and I just, one morning I woke up about 2:30 in the morning, and I called one of my only friends who I know is up at that ungodly hour, and she answered the phone basically with, "You decided, didn't you?" And yeah. So I don't know whether I need my head examined or if I'm really truly doing the right thing. I feel in my heart that when your veterans ask you for something, I'll be damned if I'm going to say no. So, no. I believe that we are, what our founding father said, it's of the people, by the people, for the people. And it's a shame that so many people don't even know what that means. You know, when we took civics out of school, which I don't know what decade that was, but I had it when I was, okay. We were meant to govern ourselves, so yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. Mike Edwards, United States Marine, disabled vet from Desert Storm, and president of the Banditos Motorcycle Club here in Las Vegas. Recently, with help of Stephen and quite a few other people, have become political and biker activists. But my question here is for the panel. It's a two-part question, just yes or no. I'm big with the homeless vet situation here in Las Vegas and statewide. If you do make it to the U.S. Senate, do you plan on sitting on any boards that would help the homeless vet situation here in Las Vegas and statewide? And the second part of the question is we have a very outstanding thing in Henderson. It's called Veterans Court. It's not only helps the veterans, it's a rehabilitation, they have graduation, it keeps them moving forward and positive. Would you support a Veterans Court statewide with a mandate or something like that? Because I mean, Metro would help with it a lot. I've seen great things. So two-part question, homeless vets and Veterans Court, Ms. Angle.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes as well.
As a disabled vet myself, I definitely also have to say yes and yes.
Yes and yes, and thank you, Judge Stevens.
Yes and yes, including federal funding.
Yes, and I've written letters for multiple vets to actually get the recognition they need in regards to the PTSD issues for the Veterans Court.
Justin Preble, yes, yes.
Robert Leeds, I have a great deal of experience in both areas, so I vote yes and yes, definitely.
I really would devote as much time as I could, so the answer is yes and yes.
We have an obligation to take care of our vets. We made a promise, we need to keep it. Yes, yes.
And I also say yes, yes. My father-in-law is a disabled vet, so I'm right there with him. And I just want to make one thing clear with Robert Fowle's question is I am pro-life.
Wasn't so hard bipartisan, outstanding, all right.
Okay, okay. Thank you. That's round one questions. You're doing very well. I know this is a tough format. Everyone has the respect for each other, which is great. And so with that in mind, we are about halfway through. If we do this right, we can go another round of questions. And then we might even have time for some closing statements. I'd like to have some closing statement time.
May I ask a question? Because a lot of the people on the panel haven't been asked questions yet. I think we should at least allow time for all of us to have a closing statement.
Okay, fair enough. Let's just roll through this, and I'll reserve the time at the end. Tom and I know each other very well. But in the event that we don't get through everybody, I apologize to the panels, but we'll do our best. From the top again, let's try, we'll go with Melanie.
My question is for Ms. Angle. I respect and value that everyone has their individual views, as I have mine, but my concern is on issues where the United States Supreme Court has spoken. You indicated that you're pro-life, so are you against a woman's right to choose, and as a legislator, would you be rallying to take that right away?
Thank you for the question, and I will clarify by saying that our Constitution says that legislation should be coming from the legislative branch. The Supreme Court determines constitutionality. The President enforces laws. Unfortunately, we've gotten away from the constitutional mandate for the three branches of government. As far as constitutional laws and the way they have been put to our country, many of the things that have happened from the Supreme Court have been activist judicial decisions that shouldn't have ever happened. That's what got me involved in the first place in politics, was an activist judge telling me that he thought the law should say something that the law didn't say. I believe that's what's happened in this case. I am a woman. I have many choices. I believe that women should have choices. I also believe that our Constitution says that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I believe that is for every citizen of this United States, born or unborn. Thank you.
Yes or no question. We have public employees that, Len Connell, let's do this again, roll the tape back. Len Connell, radio show host, yes or no question. We have public employees that are heavily influenced by the unions that use competitive compensation techniques similar to the Wall Street bandits in corporate America to make millions of dollars in compensation for very average jobs. I believe the average public service person in Nevada earns twice as much as the average Nevada business owner. So my question, starting with Sharron Angle all the way down, would you put into legislation some methods of compensation reform for the Nevada public employees?
Yes.
I'm troubled.
I'm a bit troubled by that question. It sounds like a state legislative issue when you refer to this state. From a federal side, if I could do something or act on legislation which might help with the problem you specify, yes.
I think it's important for vets and workers to have the right to negotiate their wages and I would not support that.
I'm a state employee myself, and I make less than 40K a year, so I'm not quite sure where my millions of dollars I'm supposed to be earning based on your question is from. But I also would support the right of public employees to collectively bargain.
Yes.
Eddie Hamilton, the answer is yes. The reason the VA is so screwed up is because of public employees with their union. So yes.
The answer is yes.
Justin Preble, yes.
Robert Leeds, I think there should be a cap. I don't think foreign money should be able to be donated into our voting system, and I think there should be some limitations put on donations in these private companies that can make these donations. So the answer is probably yes.
Well, I think that Nevada's public employees have to, there has to be some changes made in their compensation. I do not believe it's a federal issue, it's a state issue, and so I wouldn't have anything to do with it, but I would be glad to influence anything that was on the table. So my answer is yes, I guess.
Obviously, this is not a federal issue, and workers are entitled to negotiate for their fair salary. But the real issue with this is that the politicians who vote for these things take money from the unions, and so they're beholden to the unions when it comes for salaries, and that's why the salaries continue to rise so dramatically.
Yes or no, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'll say no because it's a Nevada issue, and we've already talked about branches of government overstepping their bounds.
Okay, next up, I guess, is Jim Jonas.
Jim Jonas, radio show host, Veterans in Politics. This question is for Mr. Hamilton. In one of your previous answers, you said yes to abolishing the IRS, but you also said something about you believe it would take a constitutional amendment. Can you explain that to me? Because maybe I'm not understanding, but from my understanding, the 16th Amendment gives Congress the right to weigh, levy, and collect taxes any way it sees fit. So currently, right now, it's using the IRS to do that. Why can't they, since it's up to their discretion, why can't they just say they don't want to use the IRS anymore and create a better system?
Eddie Hamilton, number one, it is true that this amendment created income tax. And the IRS has been known for decades as the instrument of that amendment. So to be effective, you have to change the amendment. I know that the Congress can, replace the IRS with something that will do the same thing that the IRS is doing. So that's why I said you need a constitutional amendment, really, to reform the income tax system. That's the only way we can do it effectively. And to the previous question, it is a federal issue. Look at Puerto Rico. The public employees were going nuts over there, and Puerto Rico is going bankrupt. And guess what? The federal government gets involved. Same thing with Nevada. If Nevada goes bankrupt because of the public employee compensation, the federal government will be involved. It's almost a certainty. So I said it is a federal issue. Previous question from Leon Connell. Thank you.
Hi, this is check. Test. There we go. This is Scott Lafata with Citizens for a Better America. We're going to have a roll call vote. We're going to start on this side, just as if you were in the United States Senate in your seats. We're doing a roll call vote. We're going to have a vote right now. Would you vote to abolish the EPA and leave environmental issues to the states?
Yes, abolishing. Yes.
Yes.
I would certainly replace it.
Justin Preble, no.
Gumina, yay.
Eddie Hamilton, yes, qualified, because they're getting involved with political issues, but if they want to control clean water like in Flint, they should be able to do that. But they are overstepping their boundaries. Thank you.
It's a big button on his desk in the Senate.
Yay.
Jarrod Williams, no.
I would not support that.
I vote yes.
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Rowena Clifferton. My foundation helps the families of our U.S. military and our veterans, returning veterans. So for the veterans, thank you for your service and God bless you and your families. This question is for Jarrod. What would you do to take care of our military families and our veterans?
Thank you. I definitely think we need to we've started with the Affordable Care Act. I think we definitely need to go more to a single payer act, so we have universal health care. We can expand into the VA. So having gone to the VA myself, there are extensive wait times there, and if we can increase funding, increase doctors, increase support, there would be more health care available to the veterans. We can also try to increase social programs so they have more support if they need mental health care, if they need daycare for their families, if they're trying to get a job and they can't find that. We just need to increase our social safety net that we have to provide on a daily basis for the care of these individuals.
So, excuse me, Assemblyman John Moore. This is a yes or no question for each of you. As you know, specifically here in Nevada, over 85% of our land is controlled by the federal government. Would you support returning the land that we own as a state back to the state control? Yes or no?
Yes.